They just don't know when, they just don't know how and what to do. So if the approach this time will be government to people, if the local government officials will be the one opening the space, inviting them and empowering them, the people, on how to do things and what to say, what they can argue, what they can lobby, then maybe people would swamp in local government units and take an active participation. Because right now, the problem is with the local government unit. Not all of them would be welcoming people's participation. Because the more people will participate, that's the caveat of democracy. If you give people the voice, then it would be the deliberation for public policy will take a long time. It might cause a lot of conversations towards how to utilize the budget efficiently. But that's the beauty of it also, a shared decision-making process. But again, there is positive to it, there is negative, but to increase participation, we have private organizations or even institutions like the academe and other organizations in the community should take part in a collaborative project and partnerships to aid the lack of capacity at the local government to create more opportunities for people's organization. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, Hazel. I think it's complete the response for the question. And now we still have some question for the participant. Here is come from Pak Ade Darmawan. He asked about the awareness concept in Philippines. His question is, what is the local government in the Philippines doing to increase awareness of service, for example, health and etc. And then they are rate low, so they can be high. How to do that based on your perspective in Philippine cases?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Yes, that's the beauty of conducting the survey, because we get to have an idea of what are the government services that are highly common or popular among the people, and what are the services that are less popular from the people. So at the end of the project, we get to present the findings to the local government officials, and they come up with a plan to address certain points. For example, if there is low awareness or low satisfaction for this particular survey, what they do is come up with mechanism. For example, post in social media sites on the availability of these services. At the same time, cascade information towards their local government officials, like the villages, the village head, the household heads, to encourage more people to visit the health centers and possibly avail of the services if they need to. So yeah, maximum public information dissemination in all platforms at the local government level via social media, bulletin boards, or even the word of mouth, passing the information towards everybody in the community.
Oke, thanks. Ini ada Pak Muhammad Edward Kennedy, mau bertanya langsung atau bagaimana? Muhammad Edward Kennedy dari kelas A. Halo, Pak Muhammad Edward. Baik, kalau belum respon, we go to the next question. Come from Ibu Haryati. She asked about the mechanism or achievement by local government. I think is this question for Prof. Halimah. When we discuss about the achievement belong to local government, use public administration perspective. How to links about that, Prof. Halimah?
Sorry, one more time questions. I did it.
Yes, this question from Ms. Haryati. You can look at the chat view.
Okay.
In public participation, how much success has been achieved with the mechanism that has been carried out?
Okay. All right. Based on the mechanism in the we're talking about star rating system, right?
I look at your slide, talk about the star rating system.
Yeah. Right. So talking about star rating system. uh, because this kind of the is like a compulsory for each of the local government to comply with the star rating system. So it means that because this star rating system is indicator for the federal government to give a financial grant to the local government. I don't have the specific statistic, but I can see the total of like in 2019 there is about 119 out of 152 local government. It seems 80% of the local government in Malaysia in 2019 got 4-star and above. So it means that I think since 2008 was being implemented until 2019, because at the beginning of the implementation is there is some local government who have 2-star and 3 stars. But in 2019, now we can say that 80% of the local government who reach 4-star and 5-star. So I means that the successful rate is higher because it's linked with the financial grant or financial assistance from the federal government. The higher star you gain, the better financial assistance will be allocated by the federal government or Ministry of Finance. So I think this is kind of the very objective and transparent indicators that need to be shown by the local government, not just only for the financial assistance, but I think to show that leadership capabilities, maybe I think many elements can be gained from these indicators or index. To show that probably public participation itself and maybe in terms of society engagement, okay. But the ultimate goal of having this star rating system is to see to what extent that local government deliver their services to the people. And then of course the financial assistance being become what we call it carrot and stick. I think another indicator can that helps the successful rate too. That's my answer. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Halima. And we go to the next question. Come from Mbak Fajar Apriani. I think is long. So I have question for both speakers about participation in local procurement process. As we know, in public participation, start from manipulation level until citizen control level. So can you explain more to us about what level of Philippine and Malaysian public participation in local government procurement process of development that have been done until today? Is it in non-participation, tokenism, or citizen power classification? Okay, thank you for sharing many knowledge for us today. I think first is Hazel. You can respond this question from Ibu Fajar Apriani.
Thank you so much. Interesting question. In terms of public procurement, I believe the Philippines is adopting the citizen power already because we have a setup, we have a policy wherein whenever there is government funding for example for different projects and programs, it has to be posted in a specific site wherein it is available so that it's like an open bidding for those who are interested. So yeah, I think there is an equal footing given to the different interested parties or people to bid for government projects for possible funding or to acquire the projects that, for example, they would possibly win. I don't think there is an intervention from those elites, for example. So what the government does is that they will open the project for public bidding, so the larger public could submit the interest to bid for a project, and then the government grants the project to the lowest bidder. There is beauty to that because, according to some authors, that because we're using government money, then it has to be efficient. So we have to go to the least possible expensive programs or projects. So we go to the lowest bidder. Now the caveat to that, the other side is that is it really of good quality? Unfortunately, most of the government projects in the Philippines goes to the lowest bidder despite the quality of the services that they deliver. That's the reality to that. And sometimes that has negative implications to the efficiency of some government projects, roads, trains, transportation. But because, again, we operate in the concept of granting and awarding projects to the lowest bidder, then that's what we get. That's how it works with a million or billions worth of projects, even to the lowest and most minimal projects, even the purchase of bond papers, office supplies. That's how it works. It always goes to the lowest bidder because, according to them, we are using public funds. So yeah, I'd like to believe that that operates within the level of citizen power. Thank you.
Okay, next, Prof. Halimah.
Alright.
Alright.
When I
When
read
I
these
read these
questions,
questions,
remind me on my students interested to do research, PhD research on because he is a developer. So he complained to me and kind of the problem statement to him for him, whereby he said that why always his application on development plan a bit late. Okay, so this is kind of the questions that being raised up by the small developer or small contractor, because we believe that those are big or established contractor, then probably easy for them. So like my student, he only small businesses doing as a small contractor. So he keep complaining among them that why actually local government are really quite a lousy system and so on. So when he go through, because he need to have the proper document, and he need to bid with all the agencies whoever to give good quality with the low price. So in nowadays government are really focus on giving opportunity for all peoples. Okay, so it means that of course we do um, democracy or power to the citizen to make a decision to involve in the government activities. In terms of public procurement, yes, we open for the tender, we open for the bidding, and still although the issue of integrity still happens. So that's why now my government are really try to are working harder to make sure that this kind of the system of bidding, public procurement, and so on can be integrated in the online system, so that everybody can see who is their competitors. Okay, rather than now, we still in the manual. Not all local government. For those who are city hall, for those who are big local government, they already use the online system. But for the rural or municipalities who in the moderate levels or they not really rich, we still go for the manual. Although we have one-stop center, but this kind of process need to be approved, delivered by the many agencies. So the integrity issue is still there. What I'm trying to say is we are giving opportunity to the people. We are try to empower people, but at the same times we also try to strengthening our system, so that we try to get less contact with the human, but more on the system. System itself, we will answer what level of the stages their application. Another things that I would like to explain on citizen power is whenever government try to do a local plan, we call it structure plan, they will do a public hearing. Okay, they will do public hearing, they will make a notice, they will do announcement to make sure that people get in and involved, give some input on that. But it's depend on the location. If in the, I think if in the urban area whereby people are more open and they more educated, they would like to give input more. So more engagement from the people. But rather they're in the rural area whereby there is a lack of awareness from the people why their opinion are really matters. Sometimes is not many people go in and involved with the public hearing and so on and so forth. So what I'm trying to say is I think our government are really open in terms of 8 letters by the Einstein. Of course, we are giving opportunity for the peoples to get involved with the any projects development by the government, but to what extent not everyone are on board or everyone interested because they don't see the benefit to them. Okay, but in the I think in the urban area whereby more educated people, more professional people in there living in that particular area, I think they more educated to support and give some ideas so that any development actually consider professional or technical opinion too. That's my answer. Thank you.
Prof. Halimah and Aziel, I think is very nice question and response for both of the speaker. And when discuss about the local government, I think is as academic we should contribute how to encourage the local government so they can provide some basic maybe or some system so the citizen can receive or got a good public services for the local government. Again and again, we still have some question for the participant. I think it's very nice to discuss this morning. And the next is question for Prof. Halima, come from Isna G. Handayani. Does federal government of Malaysia have online integrated system or application on giving business licensing to investor that is use all of local government? Or its local government has their own system to give business licensing to investor? Please, Prof. Halima.
Sorry, can you repeat one more time, Doctor? I thought the question in the chat. So I go through actually not in the chat. So let's focus. Sorry, one more time, Doctor.
Does a federal government of the Malaysia have online integrated system or application in giving business licensing to investor that is use all of local government? Or its local government has their own system to give business licensing to investor?
Okay. All right. I think both have their own system, depending to the what kind of the business and what ministry, what kind of agency you are dealing with. Okay, so each of the agency, regardless at the state or federal level, they have their own system um, uh, on the business license and so on and so forth. But it's subjected, for instance, at the what we call it Kuala Lumpur City Hall, because their territory, their function is more wider. So they have quite established system. However, in the Alustar, because we quite smaller city, we still have our own online system too, but this kind of one-way system. I mean, the applicants need to submit all their application and forms and document, or they need to fill in the system. But some system they need to follow up with the person in charge. Okay, but it's a different situation with the big city, because they are dealing not just only businesses with the local people, but with the international or multi companies. So they need to have quite established system whereby their counterpart or their stakeholder, their customer, no need to call or follow up with the person in charge, but they can get the feedback from they can trace through the system. So my answer is both level, at the federal, at the state level, we do have the online system, but the establishment, the strength of the system is depend on the what kind of the services that we are looking for. If the customer is the service is diverse and the customer come from the international partners and the system more established rather than with the local development. Thank you, Dr.
Basically, we have some question, but we have limitation time. We have 5 minutes left to finish this discussion. And I want to look at which one, the critical question for the participant. Is it from Dara Prativi for Hazel? This question for you. I am Dara from class A. My question is for Ms. Hazel Jovita. As we can see in Indonesia, we also have a system to check the public satisfactions level of public services based on Minister of Administrative and Bureaucratic Reform Regulation, number blah blah blah. We call it survey kepuasan masyarakat in bahasa. I think is Ms. Hazel understand by this term, or survey of a public satisfaction similar to CSIS in Philippines. Would you mean sharing what the CIS indicators and how to apply CSIS in Philippines? Thank you, advance.
All right. Thank you so much, Dara, for the question. Yes. Yeah, I'm quite familiar with how the Indonesian government is also having the same kind of survey, satisfaction survey among its people. I think that's the trend now across societies, because in Malaysia they also have the star rating system. Now in the Philippines, the survey is based on the specific services that local government units should deliver according to what is in the constitution. So despite resources and despite capacities, whatever the gaps are, all local government units should deliver specific services in terms of health, education, social services, public works and infrastructure, and other services. Now, that's how the CSIS works. There is an enumeration of the different services that is being specific services offered by the local government units, and citizens are to answer that survey. There are 4 levels of the survey. First, citizens will be asked, are they aware of the services that is being offered? If the answer is yes, did they avail of the service? Did they go to the center, or did they use that particular public service? If the answer is no, then that's it for the citizen. But if the answer is yes, he or she did use of that particular public service, he or she will be asked, are you satisfied with the services or with the service of how it was delivered? If the answer was yes, the citizen will be asked, in what particular way were you satisfied or were you not satisfied? And do you think there is a need to improve of that specific services or service? So there is an open-ended question at the end of all services in order to generate more information from the citizens on how they think a public service or a specific public service should be delivered in a certain way. And in doing so, there is a rich harvesting of practices at the local level. For example, because there are a lot of answers that can go. For example, timeliness of the service, efficiency of the people delivering the service, the resources entailed or allocated for a particular service. Was it enough or was it not? And at the end of the survey, we get to present this to the local government officials, and then they get to explain why is it like this, like why is it that the result for this specific service is negative or low. And then us as the academe, we get now a perspective from the citizens and the local government officials of what happened, and the gap between local government and the citizens is an opportunity for development and innovation of different mechanisms or even policies that could be in place to address the gap. But eventually, local government officials are the one crafting mechanisms and processes to address a low or negative response from the citizens in order to improve their services in the next few years. But unlike in Malaysia, like Dr. Hadima mentioned earlier, that local government officials are expected to improve on their services after 2 years, maybe if I heard it right. In the Philippines, that's the implication. Local government officials should be improving their services, but the reality is that there is no compelling factor that would force local government officials to really make a strong stand and a solid approach towards addressing a negative response from the citizens, because after all, local government units are autonomous by nature, so they can practically do whatever they want. The national government just oversees or guides local government officials. So it's not gonna it's there's no guarantee that the results are compelling enough for local government officials to really allocate a substantial amount of money, for example, to just improve that particular service delivery. So there is a lot of conversations that has to happen in order to convince local government officials to at least make a strong stand on a specific service area that is that has a compelling result during the survey. I hope that makes sense.
Hazel and Prof. Halimah, we have a three question left in here, but we have around 2 or 3 minutes. We have to finish this discussion. So I want to um, make this some simple questions so we can cover three of the question for both of you. Number one is student asked about the moving capital. The cases in Malaysia from in here he said that sorry, from Kuala Lumpur to Putrajaya. And Indonesia has the same cases, move capital from Jakarta to East Kalimantan. What do you think, Prof. Halimah, about these cases, and also Hazel, how to as an academic or scholar, how to respond about this case? Is better or not good for the to develop some country? Okay, first, Prof. Halimah.
All right. Thank you for the interesting questions. I will explain in two conditions. The first one, we as academician, but I would like to go as a citizen first. Okay. So as a citizen, we can see that how the leaders are really crucial in determining the development of the country. So of course, we are in the actually I try to split between academic and citizen, but still when we are explaining, because we are influenced by our knowledge as citizen. But in the public management, we aware that as good public administrator, we need to follow what being we try to implement what been decided by the ministry or by the prime ministry. So in the context of as a citizen, I believe that what was being decided by the previous prime ministry, because the idea of moving from Lembah Kelang, Kelang Valley to the Putrajaya is raised up by Tun Dr. Mahathir. And you know that this charismatic leader, he really mean what he said. So I think due to the geographication area, due to the population and the determination, I think the successful of the Putrajaya being benchmarked by other countries too. So as a citizen, we are really proud to say that we have a Putrajaya, because this is another attraction, another local development, economy development, and precisely because it's close with the Cyberjaya, it's close with the Kuala Lumpur International Airport. So I think this is another economic development for the local citizen or local society to engage with overflow with the economic activities at that particular area. And if we see that Klang Valley is already congested, okay, So we want to do, we would like to see that our public servant, public services able to deliver with the healthy and harmonious ecosystem. So I think Putrajaya is the best location. I mean, very crucial decision be made by the last Prime Minister, that we can see the successful of Putrajaya and being recognized. I think many countries come and try to make Putrajaya as a reference case for them to move towards or to be new city for the new development. That as a citizen, whereby as an academician, particularly for the public administration programs, we can see that many theory and models, integrated model, we can embark in this movement or in this case study of the Putrajaya, whereby we can we can get the ideas of planning, strategic planning in the developing our country. It means that we need to have the short and long-term planning. So I think that while we are talking about public management, we need to expose our student with the case of, as a government, if you would like to design the program, project, you need to have the specific strategic planning. You need to have a plan, you need to formulate, you need to analyze, you need to evaluate. Okay, so I think we gain more benefit. Is quite fruitful project, Putrajaya, and now if we go to Putrajaya, we can do a lot of things in one center. I mean, we can go to many ministries only in the one center, rather than in the Klang Valley. Is the location of the office just about 1 hour, but sometimes it takes then 2 or 3 hours due to the congestion and traffic. So I think that's my answer. And because the question also asking about the planning of government of Indonesia to move from the Jakarta to the Kalimantan, I think I'm not sure. I'm not do the deep analysis, but I think any approach or any idea of moving, and particularly, I believe that your government are really do a deep study on what kind of the economy, social, and political potential that we can gain in the new area, particularly in the Kalimantan, because it's near with the Malaysia. I think Malaysia government also can see the over split effect that we can gain from the Kalimantan if it be designed as the new city for the Indonesia. That's my answer, Dr.
Thank you, Prof. Alimah. And now is we want to hear from Hazel about these cases, but I want to make additional question for you. Um, what should do the local government to prepare when the capital from Jakarta move to East Kalimantan? Because basically they want to participate to increase about human resources maybe, or others think that they should prepare is better to um, to prepare when capital move to East Kalimantan.
Okay.
For Ms. Hazel.
Okay.
Yes.
Um, I'm sorry, pa, but I don't think I am in a position to speak more about, or at least answer the question. If I would be answering, it would be coming from my own opinion, which is not based on empirical facts. I would rather request Prof. Halima to enlighten the audience on how to address the question better from her academic and professional perspective on the matter. I apologize, pa. I think Prof. Halima would be the better person to share her ideas on this one.
Okay, if like that, maybe Prof. Halimah, do you have some others perspective again to complete your answer?
Okay. I happy to talk about this. Although I'm talking about the moving from Putrajaya from Malaysia case, um, probably the different scenario it happened in Indonesia, because in terms of population, Indonesia more larger than Malaysia. In what I'm trying to say here is because we are in the small population, I think the process of moving from one place to another place is quite easier, and it not takes more budget or resources. But I think for Indonesia, um, I think the idea and the research has been done quite long time, and I believe that human resource is another issue. But as long as your government or your leaders of the government are really determined to move to Kalimantan, regardless in terms of human resource and capitals, because of course if we don't have capitals, then we cannot say about moving and so on and so forth. But I think in terms of budgetary, I believe that your government already have foresee this kind of the budget need to be allocated with the moving towards Kalimantan. But I think another important is what is the target or what is the foresee potential that can be gained by moving to the Kalimantan. Uh, I believe that lots of discussion has been done in terms of develop Kalimantan as an education hub, you know, and as a business hub through the port businesses and so on. So which one should go first? I don't have the specific ideas to say here, but in our case, because some allocation in terms of budget and human resource on at the first place, we only bring the exactly agencies who involved in the area of Klang Valley. So that particular agencies moving to the Putrajaya stages. We not go all of them at the one time, but we have period of time. I mean, we moving. I don't say slowly, quite fast, but with the few group moving first, and then another agency followed by. So I mean, we have quite good planning in terms of moving human resource there, and at that time our government spent specific allocation to move from the Klang Valley to the Putrajaya. So my answer is what kind of the potential, whereby I believe that your government already foresee potential can be gained by moving from the Jakarta to the Kalimantan. That's my answer, Doctor.
All right, thanks for Prof. Halimah and Dr. Hazel. To be honest, that our discussion is very attractive and dynamic, but we have limited time, so we should be cut some questions. So I apologize for the participant that we cannot respond for all of the question. And the conclusion is it is not enough to the section here because we have to continue in others, maybe by research collaboration or others activities in academic. Among Mula Warman, maybe and also MSU from Philippines for the next activities. As moderator, I want to say thanks for Prof. Halimah and Dr. Hazel. To be honest, thank you. I'm very happy because we can discuss very attractive and all of participants try to focus to this discussion. And finally, again and again, thank you so much for me. When I make a mistake, please give me a sorry, so we can discuss in next program. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
I will give for moderator to continue the program.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Daryana. Thank you, Professor Dr. Halimah. Thank
Prof. Halimah and Dr. Hazel, I want to hear the closing statement from you, closing statement for Prof. Halimah and also Dr. Hazel. Please, Prof. Halimah.
All right. I would like to highlight the topic of my discussion just now is on local government development in Malaysia perspective, I think that Malaysia government really needs to find new resources for their development. They no longer need to work as usual. They no longer need to use the local resources, but I think they need to try to find a partnership and open for the innovation by using the technology advancement in order to make sure that the sustainability of the people, not just only for the current survival, but for the long run. In other words, that we can use the local talent, but we need to use the international resources in order to make sure that our people not just only can live or sustain for their current life, but also for the future generation. We need to make sure that what we are having now, environment, ecosystem, existing resources can be prolonged and can be regenerated for the future generation. So the livelihood, the ecosystem, green environment, not just only for the our generation, but we need to responsible what we are doing today for our next generation. And we do hope that we can use our capability, particularly those who are in the public management program. I believe that we have our own capability and platform whereby we can contribute either our knowledge, our energy, our networking, collaboration to make sure that our system, particularly public management system, because we are the person who assists our government, we are the bridge between our government and society. Okay, so our responsibility become our ibadah, not just only here, but also later on will be us. So I believe that either as a lecturer, as a student, as a society, we have our responsibility and we have our platform. So please use our platform accordingly to make sure that our knowledge, energy can be used not just only for our life, not just only for our economic itself, but we think of what we left for our future generation. Please use our capability and talent to bridge the needs of the people, the responsibility of our government to design the policy and programs that can give benefit for all related people and stakeholders. With that, thank you for the opportunity and really looking forward to have more discussion in future. Thank you.
I want to say what 100% we agree with your statement, Prof. Halima. Thank you. Okay, please, Dr. Hazel.
And thank you so much. Thank you so much for the opportunity of being invited and sharing the session with Prof. Halima and with everyone from the university. Last few words about local government development in the Philippines. It's time for stakeholders to take action. Local government and other government institutions should never be left on their own. The many things are working, but there are also many things that are not working. And I agree with Prof. Halima mentioned that we have to we have to partner, we have to take part, we have to intervene and make sure that um, our knowledge in the university gets to be translated in local government practices. And if it needs to partner with local government units and other government agencies to make sure that things are working well according to what we learned in the university, in the theories, in our researches, then I think it has to be done. We need to take part more in our community engagements as people from the university because I think the hope is with us. The gap between university and local government unit, as far as the Philippines is concerned, is still very present. The local government unit in the country are timid to approach people in the academe because they believe the people in the academe are in a high tower, but we cannot really understand what is happening on the ground. And to a certain extent, it's true because understanding theory is far from understanding the practice. And when you get to experience how really it works at the local level, it's heartbreaking at the same time, but it has to be more inspiring at the end of the day. Inspiring enough to create and to work innovative practices and mechanisms to again empower the people, empower the officials, and be a better citizen for our country, just like what Professor Halima has said. So yeah, for students of public administration, this is what makes our discipline interesting and ever relevant, because as long as we have institutions, we do not seize our importance, and to sustain that kind of importance and relevance in the society, we need to make a stand, and we need to take part in the government affairs, not just as politicians, not just as citizens, but as academics, as people who we think we know better and we understand better because this is what we are studying. So yeah, I think that's all for me. So thank you so much for the opportunity of sharing the platform with everyone. So we hope we could continue the discussion in the next few semesters, maybe, or months. And I am very happy to be here. Thank you so much, everyone.
Ms. Hazel, and we appreciate both of you because you have high knowledge how to encourage the local government. So please, we together give applause for our speaker now. Okay, Professor and Ms. Hazel, see you the next program. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Mr. Daryana.
Baik, Bapak Ibu semuanya, terima kasih atas kehadirannya. We speak in bahasa Hazel, so sorry. Luar biasa diskusi hari ini. Kita menghadirkan dua narasumber kita dari Malaysia dan dari Filipina. Semoga ini menjadi tambahan pengetahuan buat kita semuanya, dan terima kasih sekali lagi atas partisipasinya di kegiatan kita di siang hari ini. Kembali lagi, mudah-mudahan menjadi bekal untuk mahasiswa kita di UNMUL dan juga di tempat lain atas terselenggaranya kegiatan ini. Kami dari panitia menyampaikan terima kasih atas kehadiran baik fisik maupun secara daring, dan mudah-mudahan acara seperti ini bisa dilanjutkan nanti ke depan. Terima kasih mewakili panitia, kami sampaikan terima kasih. Kita akhiri. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Tes.
Tes. Yang belum mengisi daftar kehadiran, Bapak Ibu, kami ingatkan silahkan mengisi di kolom chat, sudah di-share oleh panitia. Dan untuk materi sudah kita share di kolom chat, boleh di-download, serta sertifikat nanti akan dikirim oleh panitia. Terima kasih.
Siap.